Hi, it's been a very long time since I've done a targeted individual video, so I thought I'd get back on and do one more. Um, a few things that I remember leaving out of the earlier videos, and I might repeat myself a bit from the stuff that I already said, but some of it probably is worth repeating. My It's come to my attention that my targeting actually might have started before 2001, but 2001, shortly after 9/11, is when I really noticed it, where it really started getting bad. Things I've remembered certain events that probably was different people were actually following me around, maybe getting ready to put me into this program or whatever. Cointel type tactics being used on people. If you don't know the word what Cointelpro is, I highly recommend you look that up. That's the FBI program that they used against Martin Luther King and stuff like that. Anyway, starting in 2001 is when it really started to get bad and became very, very obvious. In fact, they made it deliberately obvious to try and rub it in that they were doing this to me. First of all, I want to say that it hasn't stopped since 2001. It's now 2016. It's been going on for 15 years at least. I've gotten more used to it, so I cope with it a lot better after 15 years, but it hasn't stopped. It seems like over the years, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it appears to me like there's like at least two different levels to it. A lot of people seem to know about it, and they know about this certain level. They're like the general public and maybe friends and family of different people that are like involved in it. You have that crowd that like know the basics, and then you have the actual COINTELPRO that the government puts on, where they're actually hurting that the public really doesn't know about, where they're actually hurting you with directed energy weapons and that kind of stuff. So there's two levels to it. You have the people that know a little bit about it, and then you have the people that really know what the truth is about you. And because of that, like when you try and tell somebody about it, a lot of people will think that they already know what you're talking about because they know the surface stuff, and they think that you're probably just whining about them nagging you, because a lot of what you get is just nagging type stuff. And they know about that. They don't know about the different weapons that you're being hit with. They don't know about all the pain and suicide attempts and stuff like that. In Kansas City, I remember they were hitting me so hard. This would have been like in 2003, and I was in Kansas City, of all places, visiting there, trying to see what kind of help I could get from my family. And they just about had me, I mean, it was this close, they just about had me talking into jumping off the bridge. They hit me with so much pain and screaming in my ears. It was basically an attempted murder. They were really trying really hard to get me to kill myself in Kansas City. And because, there's attempted murder involved, they're never going to admit to doing this. The government's never going to say, oh yeah, we tried to kill this guy. They're not going to do that. They also did manage to get me to do a few suicide attempts in Vegas. I hospitalized myself a few times. I just screamed in my ear and screamed in my ear and screamed in my ear so much that I tried to puncture my eardrums. I wasn't able to do that. I tried all kinds of stuff to try and get it to stop. I tried suicide a few times just to get the voices to shut up. It was so bad. They were hitting me with all kinds of directed energy weapons like chest pains and screaming, constantly having somebody screaming in your ear. We're talking years here, years of screaming in your ear that after, since they did try to murder me by trying to, make things so bad, by screaming, so painful and so bad, but they're not going to ever admit to that. So they're not going to stop altogether, nor are they ever going to admit to doing it. So if you happen to, and I do know of at least one other person that's targeted, that I've met in my life. And so if you are put in this program, you got to remember that these people, even though they do a lot of joking and stuff like that, and the people that are really behind it are very vicious people. They're murderers. And there's no reason to murder me. I haven't done anything worthy of that. So I might be wrong about those two different levels, but it appears like you have some people that know some of the truth, and then you can't really talk to them because they think that they already know your story. They assume that they know what's going on with you when they really don't. They don't know the whole story. They don't know that you're being tried to be killed, and you really can't get them to talk to you because they're going to be distracted just like you can be. A lot of the people you're going to run across are potential victims as well, and so this kind of technology, they're gonna use it on people. I'm dealing with a lot of trauma. One of the things that I was talked into doing that I highly recommend that you don't. They talked me into trying psych meds a few times. I fell for that. And psych meds made this just a million times worse. That was my experience with them anyway. When I tried taking psych meds, they basically gave me a psychotic episode every time. And it was really, really bad. Traumatic attacks on reality, bended reality a bit. It was really, really bad. I advise, they still try. The reason why I want to bring this up is they're still trying to greatly and trying to convince me to take psych meds. But again, I still remember, I'm not going to fall for that one. Again, that one was one of the worst days, where they basically gave me a psychotic episode, and I'm sure I know I'm dealing with trauma. There's really nobody that tells my story at all in the TI community, so I really can't relate to anybody. I mean, there's people that have part of it here, but they're leaving out. I can't really relate to anybody enough, so I kind of have to deal with it myself. I mean, I could go hang out with other torture victims and stuff, and maybe get a little comfort there, but it's not the same thing. They haven't gone through what I've gone through, so I don't really have anybody to relate the story, so I just kind of have to deal with it myself. And I know that psych meds is a bad idea to deal with the trauma. Valerian is an herbal tea that I still highly recommend. It seems to probably help the most, and also self-hypnosis is the two things that have probably done the most for me. Has been valerian, and self-hypnosis has kept me alive. I also do a lot of other things like meditation, and I eat really well and that kind of stuff too, but really the valerian and self-hypnosis is probably what's kept me alive all these years, and still helps me today. I still use it quite regularly to overcome little things. They're always trying to tell me who's behind it and stuff like that. And, they'll tell me that, and I'll hear different people I know, as voices and stuff different civilians and stuff like that will get involved in this. And friends and family, government employees, a lot of times get involved in this. And, they're going back to 2001. No, I don't think that any of these people snuck into my apartment and put cams in my apartment and started all this. A lot of these people, well, we don't want to get involved because we are involved, but really they're not. The people that are involved were the people that started this back in 2001. Those are the people that started this, which were government employees. Friends and old acquaintances and old family members have probably participated in it. But I don't really blame them for falling for some bullshit that the government employees put out. They probably fell for some bullshit. I don't blame my my girlfriends, the girlfriend I had at the time so much, or I don't blame my mom or anybody like that for falling for this scam that the cops put on. Law enforcement, FBI probably being the main culprits behind this kind of program. Would put on. They just happen to fell for that line of shit. So I don't blame my friends and family for falling for it. It was originally probably FBI, different law enforcement, different government employees, maybe even military that got involved in this, that set all this up. That's who's to fault. You know, my gullible family falling for it doesn't really surprise me, and they're really not at fault. They're just gullible. I don't really have a whole lot more to say. Definitely stay away from psych drugs if you can. It made things much, much worse for me. I don't have any real solutions for the trauma other than self-hypnosis. Does seem to help quite a bit. My memory is getting bad. My memory is getting worse and worse just coping with this. Oh, one other thing I did want to say, if you're new to this, might recommend, I kind of made a mistake of just, trying to work anyway. It seemed like every time, things got so bad I couldn't work for a long time, and I'd go to apply for Social Security, and then somehow miraculously I'd land a job, and then just really long enough to, to show that I was making income, and then couldn't. Then I get denied the Social Security. So I've been able to work through all this, but I think it's actually done a lot of damage trying to work with all this shit going on. It's really fucked my mind up pretty good. So if you are put into this, I recommend you go ahead and get on Social Security, because it's very difficult to work. It's a lot of pressure. It's very stressful. You're going to be constantly workplace bombed. Your job's always going to be in jeopardy, always. I mean, even today, I've had the same job for 9 years. I still get workplace bombed. Probably the employer itself is actually involved in it. I mean, they've got their little group now. In place where I work. So you're probably going to want to get on Social Security. I would recommend that. I've done a lot of probably unnecessary damage trying to work with this shit going on. And that's really about all I wanted to get on and say. I don't want to make this a really long video. I just wanted to get on and say that, it's still going on. I do think it gets easier to cope with it. But I don't really paint a very good picture for those people that do fall victim to this. It's just the way things. The only thing I can really tell you to kind of write it off. It just seems to be like this is the way things are. This is the way the government's going to act and behave. They're going to use a lot of civilians. A lot of the civilians that are involved in this, a lot of them seem to think that they are doing the right thing. So they're obviously being fed some kind of misinformation about your situation, and they're. Meanwhile you're traumatized and suicidal and everything else, it'll create a lot of hate for for the people, for government employees. And that's really what they want, they want you to strike back, so they can say, see, this is why we need a job, because we need to have our job, because people like this guy is dangerous. So they'll do everything in their power to piss you off. They're manufacturing terrorism is really what they're doing. I've said that before, and it's really what it all points to, if you ask me. And they keep getting caught doing this, trying to set people up into committing acts of violence. I mean, if you are online at all, you know that the FBI has been caught many times trying to manufacture terrorists. So they need to justify their job some way. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up in about 15 minutes. I'll go ahead and put this on social media. And thanks for listening.